Next, let's talk a little bit about the object info and how we can use that. The object info is actually the backbone of this program, and it provides you with so much information. We will be interacting with it almost exclusively. You will be using it a lot during the course of this class. So the object info is a very important palette to have, and I've docked mine in the upper right hand corner. Yours may be somewhere else, but make sure you find it and you have it. If you don't have it displayed, you can go to palette and then select object info, and it will appear and you can dock it wherever you want. Okay, so I have two lines that are drawn on stage, one horizontal and one vertical. Let's take a look at our horizontal line first, and if I click on that, yes, we get our endpoint and we can identify our midpoint and our other endpoint, but it also appears in our object info as a shape, and it tells me what it is. It says, look, that's a line. Let's not worry about class, layer, and plane just yet, but let's look at the two, or let's look at the options that are below that, right? You have two icons on the left. The first one gives you a delta x and a delta y, which is not maybe as useful as they could be, and the xy coordinates are not as useful as they could be. If we select the icon that's below that, right, if we select this icon down here, it gives us the length of the line, the angle of the line, and its xy coordinate. Now, if we want to change the length of the line, right now this is at 4 feet 5.911 inches, which may not be the most useful dimension to a carpenter, right, or to someone that's hanging lights. And maybe we just arbitrarily drew it, and now we want to make it the exact correct size. I can change that dimension, and let's call it just 3 feet. Right? And if I change it at 3 feet, if you'll watch the line when I press enter, the line has now shrunk to where it's exactly 3 feet. Now, it did that in a very specific direction, right? I changed the length of the line, but this point of the line is anchored. Let me do a little Control Z and put it back to where it was. It's now at 4 feet 5.911 inches, right? And it is now anchored at this point. And if I change it again, you'll note that this point remains consistent. Let's say 3 feet. And it is now shrunk, but it shrunk and it held this point, right? Let's change it again. Let's select the line, and now we go in and we'll change this, and I'll make it 9 feet, and it'll get a lot longer, based again on the fact that this point remained anchored. Let's do a little Control Z. I can select what my anchor point is. I could select the midpoint, and if I change it to 9 feet, it will grow from the center out in both directions. Yes, let's go Control Z again. And the same is true if I select the other endpoint. This orientation is based on the direction that the line is drawn. It's laid out in the orientation that the line is drawn. Right? And I can change other parts of it too. Let's go back to my first one. This line is drawn on a 0 at 0 degrees. If I wanted to change this, again, anchoring at this point and make it 45 degrees, the line is now anchored at, or drawn at 45, and this point here is my anchor point. Note that the little orientation of my diagram has changed to show that it's at an angle, right? This object info is very, very smart, right? And knows a lot about what we're doing, right? We can also then change where it is drawn in space by changing its x and its y coordinate. Right now its y coordinate, its vertical coordinate, is at 14 feet 8 and however many inches. What if we were just to make that 16 feet? You'll note that the entire line moved vertically to a line at 16 feet, right? So this moves the entire line, right? But based off of this point, right? So this is a little bit about object info, and we're going to do a few more lectures on object info, but I'll stop this one for right now.